Hi there. My name is Coach Jackie. I am the founder of Mirrored Vision Coaching. I am so glad that you are here to talk about your love language and how to utilize your love language to get the relationship you desire. So, something brought you here, right? Either the need to know more about your love language, you want to have better communication in your relationships, not necessarily just romantic, but platonic, work, friends, um, any relationship that you're in, you want to be able to communicate with people and for them to um, know who you are, to be able to respond to you, to let you know when you are feeling heard, loved, and cared for. So today we're going to talk about knowing your love language um, so that you can have a highly effective relationship. So we're going to talk about what the love languages are, the definition of each love language, and how they are expressed. And then we'll also talk about the apology languages. And if you are most people know about love languages, but not too many people have heard about the apology languages. And so we'll talk a bit about their definitions and how they are expressed. And then weighing the love and apology languages against your non-negotiable list. So good stuff ahead. Let's keep going. I saw this quote somewhere probably on social media somewhere. And so I'm not sure who to give credit to, but you will always teach people how to love you, but you should never be persuading them to love you. When I saw that, I thought, yeah, you know, in a way, we do always teach people how to love us. We're constantly evolving. We're constantly becoming new versions of ourselves or healed versions of ourselves. But we should never be at a place where we are persuading people to love us, having to convince them to like us or love us or to put up with us or anything. We want people to be with us because that's what they want to do, not because they're feeling forced to do that. I remember some time ago I was talking to this guy and I remember I said I love you first, and it wasn't because I wanted to trap him or keep him or anything. That was just how I was feeling. And a little bit, short-sighted when I look back on it, but he was kind of like, "You do?" Like, later on, he told me, "That's I did think you were a little bit crazy." But when he eventually said it, it didn't sound genuine. It didn't seem as if he really felt it and meant it and wanted to say it. It was as if because I said it first, he was expecting me to return it. And so I always felt like I was having to persuade him. And that's not fair to me and it's not fair to him. And so I definitely wholeheartedly agree with this quote that you will always teach people how to love you, but you should never be persuading them to love you. So you've probably seen this across the internet in workshops many times over, the infamous 5 love languages. As we see here on the right-hand side, um, these 5 love languages: physical touch, acts of service, gift giving, quality time, words of affirmation. And what is so interesting about the love languages is that at some point we all have and need them. Um, but there's a dominant language that when when it's felt, when it's actively being done, And that's how we feel love. That's how I know that um, Sammy is really in love with me, because he's heard what I said about, I like to spend time with people, and sit and talk with them, and have, uninterrupted time, and to be their priority for the moment. And so making time out of his day to spend quality time with me, and um to sit and talk with me. We may not be, you know, cuddling and all of that good stuff, but we're holding hands, we're making eye contact, right? So my primary love language is quality time, but I also like to be touched, right? Um, if someone makes me breakfast in bed, that's an act of service. I appreciate that, because I've had a long day and long night, and you taking the time out of your day to make me breakfast and bring it to me in bed, that's an act of service, right? Um, Words of affirmation, telling me, letting me know that you see me, that the hard work that I'm doing, gift giving, just flowers that for no reason, or um, knowing what my favorite animal is and getting a little stuffed toy. All of those love languages come into play, but there's going to be one or two languages that really stands out above the rest, and really lets you know that you are receiving love from someone that is close to you. Okay, so where did the five love languages come from? Back in 1992, there was a uh, a counselor who was counseling couples, um, and through the course of his work, Dr. Gary Chapman found that there were some common threads that were happening amongst his clients and the people that he was working with. And out of this informal turned formal process, he identified that there were five unique styles in which we communicate with our loved ones. And through that, he came up with the five love languages. And so when we talk about the love languages, we mean that in order to understand your partner, it can have so many benefits. It can help you improve your relationship. So if you're coming to a point in your life where you all are having a difficult time communicating with one another, you can't seem to be on the same page, your backs are against each other at night. It's difficult to talk without having an argument. The sight of them makes you want to scream. Every relationship has those moments. But understanding love languages of your partners or your friends or your family can help you to improve it by making a concerted effort to let them know that you still care. Let them know that you do still love them, even though we may be going through this period in time. I still love you. I'm still there for you. Some of the additional benefits of love languages is that it promotes selflessness. It can create empathy between partners. It can maintain intimacy. It aids personal growth, connects love in meaningful ways. So if we think about maintaining intimacy, when you're able to strengthen your communication, when you're able to get on the same page or to be in an alignment with someone, you have feeling your oxytocin levels are high, and you're feeling love, and you're feeling safe, and you're feeling secure. And so when you're feeling those moments, you're able to want to be in that person's presence. You're wanting to spend time with them, and to express yourself in ways where you're close, and touching, and cuddling, and whispering in each other's ears, and sending racy text messages throughout the day. Um, it's a bonding moment without having to have intercourse. You're still building the connection between you and your partner. Personal growth. When you are feeling loved, when you're feeling heard, when you're feeling cared for, you feel like you can take on the world, right? And so when you feel like you have support, when you feel like there's someone in your corner, you are ready to take on the world. And so you may eat better, you may sleep, you know, 8 hours as opposed to 4, because you're not stressing so much. You're doing better work performance, because your attitude at your life at home is a lot more happier, and easy and flowing. And so it's permeating every other part of your life. You are able to do things that you set out to do. So there's a lot of benefits in knowing your love language, that of your partner, and how to use it to make your relationship work more effectively. So we're not going to do the quiz here. So if you haven't taken the free assessment, you can go ahead and go to www.5lovelanguages.com. Go ahead and take the quick, simple quiz. Find out what your love language is. You can pause this recording, or you can keep following along with me and take the quiz on your phone or tablet. And that way, as you're taking the quiz, you can kind of hear what some of the love language characteristics are, and if that resonates with you. So, if you already know your love language, is it accurate, or has it changed? With your primary love language in mind, because again, remember, we can all feel the love languages at any time. It's not one or none, okay? We all are going to feel the 5 love languages, but there's one dominant one that, um, you know, we resonate with. With your primary love language in mind, do you know when you are receiving love? So stop for a moment and ask yourself that. If my love language is receiving gifts, do I know when the people in my life are making a concerted effort to gift me things that will make my life easier or will bring me happiness? Do I need to give them a list of things that I are my wish list, or do they know me enough to pick out something or do something that resonates with letting me know that they know me, and that I'm feeling loved? Or do you know when you're not receiving love? If it's feeling forced, if you're having to reiterate time and time again that you need to spend time with someone, or that you want them or need them to talk to you in a different way, because your love language is words of affirmations, and them not praising you for doing something is making you feel like it's worthless, right? And when you're not receiving love, if you're not feeling loved from someone, do you ask them to correct their behavior? Do you ask, and ask, and when it's not reciprocated, do you just give up? Remember, we teach people how to love us, not persuade them to love us. So, words of affirmation. If this is your love language, put it up, put it up, put it up. For words of affirmation, this is for people who express their affection through spoken word. So they need to hear um, They need to hear people's voice. They need to hear people's tonation. They need to hear it, not necessarily feel it or anything like that, but they need to hear the words, praise or appreciation. They like kind words and they like encouragement. You can also, the person whose love language is words of affirmation, love to receive notes, uplifting quotes, um, cute little funny text messages. That's what will make the words of affirmation person feel loved. And here are some examples here on the screen. Quality time. Now, this is mine. And so the person whose love language is quality time um, is felt when someone gives their undivided attention. That means not on the cell phone while I'm talking. Um, Let me change that because that did come out a little abrupt. Trigger. um, it's not having while someone's in a conversation and you're busy looking at the phone. Or their attention is on a newspaper or computer, things of that nature. People whose quality time is their love language, they want to have undivided attention. They want eye contact and active listening. So if that person is sharing with you about their day and how so and so didn't, do something at work, knowing that the person that they're talking to is hearing them, is able to give feedback and is able to ask questions, lets that person know that they're being heard and listened to and that their time is not being wasted. Acts of service. For those whose love language is acts of service, they feel the most loved and appreciated when people do nice things for them. So, making dinner, putting the kids to bed, doing just the small things that will make that person's life a little bit easier goes a long way with this person. Receiving gifts. Gift giving is very symbolic, right? Like you have to put some thought into gift giving. You have to put money into it. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. It could be something handmade, homemade, or it can be extravagant and thousands of dollars. But for the person whose love language is receiving gifts, they really do appreciate the thought that's put into thinking about them. So they not only treasure that gift, they also they look at that inclusive of the time and the thought that that person had to put into giving them that gift. So it's not just the gift itself that the person whose love language is receiving gifts factors in. They're looking at the entire package. So yes, a pencil is fine as a gift, but the fact that you bought one of those foot-long pencils with the furry top eraser and it smells like strawberries because that person's favorite color is pink and they love strawberries would really go a long way with the receiving gifts love language person. And last but not least is the physical touch. For those whose love language is physical touch, this is primarily speaking to more so intimacy and touch. So it doesn't necessarily mean sex, okay? That is a whole nother dimension. So when we're talking about physical touch, we're talking about holding hands, touching their arm or their face or their hair or their knee or their thigh, um, to let that person know I'm here, right? I hear you. I'm enjoying our time together, or I know you're sick. I just want you to know that I'm here. I'm here. Let me put my hand on you. Let me give you a hug, a massage, cuddling on the couch watching a movie, right? Those are ways in which the person whose love language is physical touch um, receives love. So on the converse side of things, but before we get into that, so I hope that some of the examples and definitions of the love languages allowed you to see where you fit in on the spectrum. You'll have maybe one or two love languages that are more dominant for you, because again, we all feel the five love languages at some point in our day, in our life, right? But there's one or two that you always gravitate to in any of these quizzes, or when you think about how you want and need to be loved, those are the things that you think about when someone can really make you feel special. Excuse me. On the converse side of things, sometimes we don't always get it right? When we're in relationship with other people, we're having to factor in emotions and tone and voice and expectations, okay? And so we can intentionally or unintentionally hurt people that we love, um, or who love us by our words, our actions, and our deeds. Sometimes saying I'm sorry isn't always enough, or we may not feel that it's coming from a genuine place. And so come in again, Dr. Chapman. He came up with the apology languages. And so the apology languages are about how we say, I'm sorry, and how people receive a sorry, an apology. Okay, so with the apology languages, it's not so much that we say, I'm sorry. It's what do we know if the person understands what they did that was wrong, or where we felt violated, where we felt misunderstood? And do they accept responsibility for it, or are they just saying I'm sorry just because that's the most common phrase that we use and it's the easiest thing to say and get over it, right? But again, Dr. Chapman in his research found that there are 5 unique ways in which saying an apology um, really drives home the intent that the person understands what was wrong, and ways in which they can not return to that behavior. The first one is expressing regret. So that person expresses the apology and identifies what the person is sorry for and acknowledging the hurt caused. So when we identify what the person is sorry for, so that's saying, okay, I'm sorry for stepping on your clipper ship that you spent 6 months working on. I know that you were really excited about that, and I apologize for ruining your hard work, right? So they identified what they did, and then expressing and acknowledging that they caused hurt to that person. Accepting responsibility. It expresses recognition of making a mistake and being responsible for those actions. So it's saying, I made a mistake. I, put mustard on your sandwich and you don't like mustard. I will be sure to put yours, make yours separately. I wasn't, I was trying to get the orders out of the way, right? So I'm accepting responsibility for not being cognizant of putting something on your sandwich that you don't like. Making restitution expresses desire to make amends and reconcile relationship. So this is when the person who was in the wrong or who hurt someone's feelings has a desire to clear the air, to bring the relationship back to an equilibrium, harmony, where they can identify the problem, rectify it, heal it, and move on. There's a desire to want to remain in relationship with that person, recognizing that they hurt them and that they want to um, not just really be in good graces, because I think that can be manipulative, but to genuinely say, I made a mistake. I'm sorry for what I did. Will you forgive me? Let's heal. I want to see you again. I want to come back home. Genuinely repenting expresses knowledge of wrongdoing and commitment to not repeating the behavior. So this would be probably in the sense of cheating, right? Where two people are in a relationship and one is in a relationship with another that their primary didn't know of or had any knowledge of. And this is, could be an extreme, but it also is very real. It expresses the wrongdoing of cheating, of having a relationship outside of that one, because it wasn't discussed. They didn't talk about that. And then if that person is genuine, maybe they were going through something in their life, maybe they didn't feel like they could talk to their partner, and they are genuinely, that was just a moment in time, and they commit to not repeating that behavior. That would be a genuine repenting of what they did, acknowledging it, wanting to heal it and move on. And lastly, requesting forgiveness. Sometimes this is hard because we don't want to forgive, because forgiveness can seem like we're absolving people of what they did or how they made us feel. But in many different talks and schools of thought, faith-based communities, forgiveness can be for the person who was hurt, right? Because sometimes people do things that they don't even realize that they hurt you, or that they said something and you're holding on to something that that person does not even know that they did to you. And so when we forgive, we are not necessarily absolving people of what they've done, but it's an opportunity for you to say, yes, that person hurt me. I did not feel loved. I did not feel appreciated. I was hurt. I was angry. But I'm no longer going to give that energy to that person to do that to me, I'm not going to hold on to these feelings anymore, because now I'm walking around sick and having a bad attitude and having headaches, and I can't sleep and I can't eat. And this person is off doing their thing. So who's hurting who, right? Who's hurting who? So forgiveness is more for the person that was hurt. But when in relationship, the person who is in the position to ask for forgiveness, it can be hard if some of these other layers of apology have not already happened. Forgiveness may not come easily. It may take a while. It may not come at all. And so this can be a difficult language to do. But when the person who is receiving the request, when they have healed, they can be in a position to accept that person's apology and to forgive them and to not hold it over their head, right? Because that's the other part about forgiveness. Forgiveness is, you know, clearing for that person, but it's not saying that you're going to forget. It's not saying that you're going to forget, but you're not going to hold it over them. You're not going to use it as a manipulative tool. You're not going to use it for retribution, right? And if you're doing that, even when you say you've forgiven them, but you continue to do things that show the opposite, have you really forgiven them? Have you really healed? That's something to think about when we're talking about our apology languages, and then, you know, how we work in relationship with others. So here are some questions to ask yourself to determine what your apology language is. What do I feel someone needs to do when they apologize in order for me to genuinely forgive them? What do I feel someone needs to do when they apologize in order for me to genuinely forgive them? What do they need to do? How am I going to know that they are in a genuine place, right? And that I'm not going to hold it over them, right? What do I need to hear? What do I need to feel from that person? What do I need to get from that person to know that, yes, they are apologizing and we can move on? And then also ask yourself, when I do apologize to others, which style do I tend to use and why? Is your go-to just, I'm sorry, right? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No. Apologize. When you apologize to others, what do you go to? What do you go to? Are you expressing regret, expressing the apology and identifying what you're apologizing for and how it hurt that person? Are you accepting responsibility? You're recognizing that you made a mistake and you're responsible for your actions. Are you making restitution? You want to make amends and reconcile. Are you genuinely repenting, expressing the not wrongdoing, and committing to not repeating that behavior? And are you requesting forgiveness, expressing a desire to walk in forgiveness and heal? So now that you know your love language, your love and apology language, how is it showing up in your relationships? Da-da-da-da-da. So when you have time, take a piece of paper and write out your non-negotiable list. What are some of those things in your relationship that you must have? Not necessarily talking about the tangible things, looks, you know, car, money. No, we're not talking about that type of non-negotiable list, though those may be factors. We're not talking about that right now. Um, but what are your must-haves in relationship where you need to be communicated with? You need to be, think about your love language, right? Think about your love language. If your love language is quality time, Do you need to hear from your person every day, 5 times a day, once a week? Once a week in person, every day by phone? Like, what's your must-haves, right? Um, and with your non-negotiable list and looking at your love language to identify what your must-haves are, you need to be able to communicate that to people. Set up an expectation. If you need to have some type of contact with your person every day, but they call you every day and you're now annoyed after month 2, let them know what you need. Hey babe, I love us talking every day, but um, I'm starting to um not pay some attention to some of other things that I have to do. Is it all right if we, chat on the ride to work in the morning, but text throughout the day, and you just check in with me when you get home at night, or something that says, I like this, but let's change it up a little bit, right? Because you need to set your expectations early on. And it's not that things won't change, but if you liked to go for a walk every day, and you want that person to go with you, um, that's quality time, that's physical touch, because you're brushing against each other, you're spending close proximity with someone, you know, every day is a big commitment. So manage your expectations and manage what you expect from other people. Some people may not be able to walk with you every day. Your loved one may not be able to walk with you every day, but we walk together 3 days a week. And then when I can't join you, I'm sending you a text message to make sure you're okay. I'm sending you a call to make sure you're okay, or to talk to you while you're walking. You know, what are your must-haves? How do you want to feel loved? How do you feel loved? And how will you receive feeling loved? And when you're not receiving those things, ask for what you want. And when you constantly ask, right? If you find yourself in a constant state of asking for what you want, when is enough enough? When is enough enough? When we are feeling in love, it is easy to overlook red or yellow flags and things we wouldn't ordinarily accept. So again, you have stated what you need, and that person continuously makes excuses and doesn't follow through. When is enough enough? Again, establish your expectations in the beginning, adjust them as necessary, but don't overlook red or yellow flags just to have to persuade someone to love you, right? We're teaching people how to love us. We're teaching people how to um, be in our space. We are allowing people access to us. And so we determine their place in our lives, right? If they're not showing that they want to have this place in our life, then they need to go. You need to let them go, right? So have some time, write out your non-negotiable list, match it up against your love languages and against your apology language, right? Like, you need to know that too. You can have the relationship you desire. It takes work, as with anything in life, but when you are clear about what you want, um, and what you want out of life, you will draw people to you who want those same things or who are in alignment with you. Ask yourself, are the people in your life adding to you or subtracting to you? Be intentional with your thoughts and your actions. If you want a particular partner, if you want a particular lifestyle, create that. Create that. If you know that you need to be dripped with words of affirmation, then you need to call in someone who has a way of words, right? A poet, an artist with the lips, with their words, right? Um, Someone who can write eloquently and make it rain on you with those words that you need to feel love, right? Call that in. Everything is energy. Relationships are reciprocal. So just like you want people to respond to you by your love language, it's important for you to take the time to learn other people's love language as well, so that you are having a reciprocal exchange, right? Like it's not feeling top heavy, like one person is doing all the work. Just as much as you want someone to know your love language, take the time to learn the love language of those in your life as well. Speak up. If you need to ask for something, clear the air, acknowledge something someone said or did, do it, right? Don't let things go festering and your relationship is now suffering. Um, Speak up, use your words, be clear, do things with love, so that if it's time to separate, you can do so with a clear heart and a clear mind. But if it's meant to be together, you can both work just as strong and just as diligent to make that relationship work. And sometimes things are just a miscommunication, right? So you don't want to jeopardize it all for a misunderstanding. Speak up. So again, be honest with yourself, be intentional. Everything is energy, and speak up. I hope you enjoyed today's webinar. I love to hear how your non-negotiable list came up with your love and apology languages in mind. I'm hopeful that during our time together that you were able to identify you where your love language is, because again it may have changed, right? um, and are you in a place in your life where you are receiving love based on how you how you love, right? Also ask yourself, are you taking the time to learn the people's love language that are in your life? And if you're not, now's the time to make that shift, right? If we want whole and fulfilling, reciprocal relationships, we have to do the work. We have to do the work. We can't put the responsibility on the other person. We have to do the work. Again, I would love to hear your stories, your aha moments, your successes, and where you may be struggling. You can definitely send me an email here at Jackie@mirrorvisioncoaching.com. If you are interested in working with me further or taking part in my sexuality empowerment coaching program, please visit my website to learn more, or you can send me an email again at Jackie@mirrorvisioncoaching.com. I love friends. I love friends. So please do not hesitate to join me over at Instagram and Facebook at mirrorvisioncoaching. Or excuse me, at mirrorvisioncoaching. No.com. And I'm there on Instagram and Facebook sharing tips and insights, nuggets from the heart. And so, again, I appreciate you taking the time to view this webinar. I hope you found it impactful and that you learned something new. And again, let me know how it has transformed your life. Thanks for joining. Peace.